Around waiting. Okay, there we go. All right. So,
Hello.
welcome everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Your three favorite business minds are back with a very fun and informative topic. I am, as always, Jane. Oh, shoot. I forgot to put the episode number. This is episode 11, by the way. Feel free to ask us about the other 10 episodes prior to this, and one of us will get you in the right place. But this is episode 11. I am James Valentine, the Ascension Coach. I help people connect with higher states of consciousness, align with their higher self, and discover their soul's purpose. And I'm going to turn it over to the Tomorrow Lady, Lisa. Let her introduce
Yes,
herself.
Tomorrowland. As soon as I start speaking, you'll probably understand what that means. So it's a beautiful Tuesday, sunny morning in Australia, and I help people become limitless. I have just through life experience, personally and professionally, I have an incredible, powerful fusion of neuroscience, tapping into the quantum gateway, and ancient wisdom to help people literally remove those hidden blocks that are keeping them stuck, keeping them in plateaus. But I'm talking to the high achievers, those people who know that they can have greatness and they can see it, smell it, touch it, but it's just still that far away. And I help people get there. I'm the bridge. Over to you, Melissa.
So I am the empathy lady. And what I do is I help leaders transform their leadership for better innovation, productivity, and profit. And I do it through a healthy and liberal application of EQ via empathy, which is my own system where we learn how to actually connect empathically to other people to use the correct EQ skills so that you can actually drive your leadership forward. And that's what I do.
Nice, nice. So our topic for today is, and the original topic, the ladies give me liberty to kind of change things around a little bit. The original topic was practice makes permanent, but we're presenting it to you today as abracadabra, not bringing you success, question mark, try this instead. And so if I'm not correct, and I'm gonna turn this over to Dr. Melissa in a second, this is all about understanding it's not just supposed to be a snap of the finger. There's going to be so much more involved in you reaching a plateau, reaching a level of success, reaching even success period. And we're going to help map that out for you today, starting with Dr. Melissa.
Sure. So this one's near and dear to my heart as a musician and someone who had to put in the 10,000 hours. And for anybody who doesn't know what that is, that's Malcolm Gladwell in the book Blink. And what he talked about was how in order for people to be able to do things so well to such a high degree in the blink of an eye, whether it's hitting a baseball or playing an instrument or running a race or whatever it was, that he said you have to put in 10,000 hours of practice. Now, that doesn't mean that you sit with your counter and you tick off the hours until you get to wherever you're going. That means mindful, quality, repetition. So in music and a lot of other fields, you hear the term practice makes perfect, right? But that's only if you practice perfectly. Otherwise, you end up ingraining bad habits, which are of no use to anybody. So whether we're talking leadership, or we're talking athletics, or we're talking the arts or sports or anything else, unfortunately, there's no such thing as people that, like the goddess Athena that came from Zeus fully formed. There's no such thing. We have to practice. Some people need to practice more than others, but it has to be practiced and it has to be done over and over and over again, intelligently, with quality in mind, to be able to get the outcome that you want. And the reason why I brought this up for us today is I don't know how many hundreds of millions of leadership books I've seen that are like, be the perfect leader in 3 steps. Learn how to lead with empathy in 5 days. And it's like every single one gives you this prescription of, well, this is all you need to do. And it doesn't work like that. You have to practice. So in the way I teach it with EQ via empathy, it's about self-reflection. and practicing in your mind. What did I do well? What did I not do well? How could I have done this better? How could I have applied empathy to my EQ skills? How could have I made those EQ skills actionable? And it isn't something that you do once or that you delegate to somebody else. It's something that you do over and over and over and over. But it's the only way to learn. I wish things were easier. I wish I could just go to Walmart and pick me up a batch of leadership, but it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I like to get
Yeah, I love the fact that you brought attention to in 3 steps or 5 Ps, because your personality might suck big time, and seriously, you have to grow into leadership. It certainly doesn't arrive, and I think you grow into leadership through landing on your face many times through very bad decisions, which I'll put my hand up, I've done that many times. Yeah. And alienated myself over it. And so yeah, I really love that, Melissa, and the fact that you have just related that to being a musician. Like, your fingers know exactly where those beautiful ivories are. You could do it backwards blindfolded. I am sure that those neural pathways they're wired.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to, because if all of a sudden, like for a musician, if I'm on stage and I'm in a pressure situation, I don't have time to think about it. It has to just happen. Yeah. Same with people in sports. You don't have time to think, well, I choke up on the bat here and I turn this way and I need to be so many degrees and I do this and I do. By the time that's all done, there's been like 16 balls that have gone past you. You can't do it. And it's the same with leadership. If you have to take the time to sit and think, well, I need to apply empathy here and I need to apply it in this way, and then it's going to connect to this EQ skill. And yeah, you practice it like that. That's how you figure out how to do it. But you have to do it over and over again so that when it really counts, it's just automatic reflex. And I think it's the same for anything that you want to be able to attain that level of mastery of, whether it's EQ to empathy or how you relate to manifestation or sports or arts or anything. The things that we do, and we do with a lot of thought and quality, and we do repetitively, are the things we're going to do well. But we have to be really, really careful, because practice makes permanent. It has to be with thought. It has to be quality, so that you don't ingrain those bad habits. It's bad when you do that. And it's a real pain in the neck to try and undo.
Yeah. Yes, it's a habit. It literally becomes a habit. And I think that's also a great topic that we could probably talk about, because your habits will determine your level of success in life.
Yes, they will. But you can control them. You can control your habits, but yeah,
well, you sort of can't just stop one. You need to replace it, because vacuums don't exist in space, right?
Yes. Yes. And that works in music as well. I mean, if you're dealing with, you got your hands all up on the keyboard and it's completely wrong, you can't just say, stop it. You have to think, no, I'm replacing it with this. I'm not breaking it. I'm replacing it. I'm overwriting it like it's a computer program. Yes,
exactly. Love it. Yeah. Oh, I thought you were just applauding then, James. It sounded like a clap started.
Well, you can.
I was reaching for the next comment. But I did want to share this, because I'm really looking forward to Lisa's props, just FYI.
Yeah. Yes.
And I know one of them is going to be the brain. It has to be the brain, because brain is the neural pathway thing. But I don't know if it's also in Blink, but I know if it's in Blink, it's also in the outliers, where Michael talks about the 10,000 hours. And I only bring that up because I definitely encourage people to, whether it's in both books or one or the other, definitely in outliers, to look that up, because I've used that as a metric myself. Obviously, because kind of guesstimating, James, how close are we to 10,000 hours? Like I literally have that on my mind at times when I'm learning a new task. when I'm trying to articulate a new message, how long am I, because really, I think we probably all experienced this in some kind of coaching session. We will have someone go, man, I know this. But the way it goes from here to here, where you now embody it, is that practice.
Yeah.
Is that we all sit in that conference, we all read that book, we all look at that video, and we get excited about what we're seeing, and we think that's the end of it. But no, you might have to look at that video a few more times. You might have to go over those meeting notes, those convention notes a few more times. You might have to read that book a few more times, because it's really about it going, the permanent part is now where you embody it and it's in the heart space as opposed to just head knowledge. But I know I've heard it from other people. I'm sure I've said it, oh man, I know this, what's wrong with me? The difference is that practice makes it a part of you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And while you were speaking, I always take notes. I can't help myself.
I love it.
When you were talking about the knowledge and then turning it into action, one of the quotes I remember from, well, the thousands of quotes from Jim Rohn, knowledge without action is delusion.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
You're just kidding yourself that you know it, because unless you do it, you really don't know it. Yes. And I think that also aligns with leadership. You can take a course, but until you're in the hot seat doing what's required, it's just like, oh crap, this wasn't in the textbook.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So you ready for the first prop?
Yes, bring on the props. This is what everybody's waiting for.
It had to be an abracadabra moment, didn't it?
Yay! It's the wand.
The wand is back. I love it. I love it.
The Fraggle Rock wand.
Love it. So it just had to come out, James, because you changed the title to Abracadabra. It's just like, well, no, none of us really have a magic wand. It's blood, sweat, and tears is the reality of it. Right. And you know, the 10,000 hours. I mean, I know we have all done that in several areas of life, and if you take that attitude with life mastery, like you're gonna make some progress up the ladder of relationship, health, wealth, leadership, your self, your spirituality. But you know, from a science perspective, and the brain's always on the shelf here, James.
I love it. There we go.
Yay. We need to give it a name. It needs to be like Bury the Brain or something.
Give it a name. We do.
Yeah, Barry will do.
Maybe we should talk to the audience. Maybe the audience should give us some names.
Yes. Let the audience name the brain.
Yeah. No, you missed it, Mike. She just had the Fraggle Rock wand out.
Yes, that's it. That's the magic wand right there.
It goes back to the good old light bulb, Thomas Edison. 10,000 experiments.
Yeah. Right.
I didn't fail 10,000 times. I found 10,000 ways it didn't work.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, that's the determination. But what I want to really focus on is what the digital age is doing to our ability to have that sustainability of doing that spaced repetition of over and over and over and over again until it becomes automatic. And there's in the great book Limitless by Jim Quick, the boy with the broken brain who's now a multimillionaire, part of the Mind Valley partnership and so forth. He talks about the 4 villains of the digital age. And we can actually almost probably have another session totally devoted to this, but I'll list them quickly. It's digital delusion, digital distraction, digital deduction, and digital dementia. And these things are literally frying our circuits. And, you know, when we're so addicted to this, the dopamine hit, what's happening is with regard to dopamine, it's our reward system. And what's happening is our attention span's getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter to actually complete a task to start with every ding and ring and shiny thing going on. But from that perspective as well, is that we need, it's almost, you know, I can use the comparison of somebody addicted to a drug, because our own chemistry are drugs. You know, they're far more powerful than anything you can synthesize in a laboratory. Yeah. I know that. I'm a scientist. However, people don't know how to activate their own chemistry. And I teach people that alchemy to literally become a superconscious creator. But when you have so much dopamine pouring out, it's almost like the tap's turned on, and you know, people have heard of adrenal exhaustion. You can get to the point of dopamine exhaustion where the hit that you're getting from this is no longer fulfilling the needs. And so for you to actually get any joy, I'm going to lean in real close and say this, for you to get any joy, you have to have an experience way beyond up here, anything, so you actually feel any kind of happiness, which is tragic because our young people only know how to talk to a screen. And the other effect from a science perspective is the blue light. People are on the scroll at nighttime while their sleep hormones are not kicking in. And so our brain actually, I've got to get the brain. Barry. Barry needs to have a wash. Okay.
Did we just Barry? Is that just happening just now, Barry?
Well, no, I do want our audience to do a poll of what name we can do a poll. Okay, we'll let the audience help us name Brainiac. No, we want a fun name. Sorry, Mike. Sorry to be a spoiler there.
James, he's just like, oh my God, these women every week, these women.
I love it.
Barry does need to have a shower. And what happens is our brain goes through a wash cycle at night because we have this residue build up. I'm really going science geek on you here because this is so important. People are wondering why they're walking around in brain fog. This is one of the reasons. Like, I've got a big list for another show. And so y'all got to keep watching. Do you like my American y'all slipping in there? Wait until I say dagamit. Yeah, don't know what that one is. So we have a buildup of amyloid in our brain. And when that comes in, it's like a sludge. And we should be washing our body knows. So who's this Barry? It's Barry the brain.
we named it, Dr. Lou. We named it. That's all. That's we named it.
So we don't go into our sleep cycle, in that deep, deep, deep sleep cycle where the brain goes through a wash, and it actually goes through a wash every 12 hours, then what happens is that we start to have this buildup. And so our cognitive ability deteriorates dramatically over time. It's like this sludge building up. And so it's I'm really frustrated about this. It's a crisis. It's an epidemic. Well, I can go as far as saying it's a pandemic of the digital destruction of our brain and its ability not only for people to experience joy, but to learn tasks, to have the concentration in place to do things over and over and over and over again. They don't have the patience to learn a skill because they don't have the connections going on. So I really wanted to touch on that point of practice makes permanent. And the other thing is I wanted to show you. So I have had many successes in life, and I want to show you a picture. I don't know if you can see it properly. That stack of trophies there was my childhood achievements as a competitive swimmer. I was up at 5 a.m. before school. This is between the age of 7 and 14. I swam for 2 hours in the morning. I got home from school, ate something, swam 2 hours in the afternoon. So that was 5 days a week. So 4 hours in the pool. I swam generally between 10 and 14 kilometers a day. If you equate that to laps, it's something like 200 laps of the Olympic pool. And on Saturdays was a training day plus a competition. Now, I wouldn't have got those trophies if I hadn't have done the work required. And it's not just getting in the pool and flapping your arms and kicking your legs. To learn how to do the stroke correctly, to get the maximum speed, to get the maximum start, like the glide through the water, the breathing technique. So just like Melissa being a musician, and she spoke about athletes, you don't get to hold the trophy if you don't do the work, which is, yes, kilometer 40, 10 kilometers, somewhere around 10 miles, Mike. I got a good set of lungs on me as well.
Yeah.
It's so good, they cannot ignore you. And my final prop, sorry, I think if we all woke up with that attitude, we'd probably fly out of bed chasing our dreams.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a powerful statement. My Jim Rohn book of my treasury of quotes, this is on activity. And it's an excerpt from Take Charge, the charge, I'll start again, Take Charge of Your Life. And Jim was also known for his leadership in sales and teaching people sales skills and building teams and organizations. Sometimes we don't ask for productivity right away. All we ask for at first is activity. Now, it's pretty easy to check activity. If someone joined the sales organization and he is supposed to make 10 calls the first week, it's pretty simple. On Friday, you say, John, how many calls did you make? And John says, well, and you say, John, well won't fit in my little box. And John starts on a story. You say, John, the reason why I made this box so small is so a story won't fit in it. I just need an activity number from 1 to 10. If the results on activity after the first week are not good, that has to be a signal. You might try another week. Ultimately, you've got to be the judge about how far you will go in putting a team together with somebody's lack of precise activity.
dropped the mic.
The end.
That's
Barry
it.
has finished.
You know, one thing I'd like to add to that real quick, but and then I'll get out of the way and let James like actually talk.
Go ahead.
That there's actually been a lot of studies as well that show that because we're so caught up in this digital stuff, that we never allow for boredom. And unfortunately, boredom is where a lot of creativity is born. So we don't have the same kind of creative capacity that we used to for that reason. And it's really too bad, because starting from a very young age, kids aren't necessarily put in that situation, like us old fogies were, where we had to figure something out because didn't have a digital anything. There was life before even Atari.
Go figure. Figure.
Okay.
Wow, that's a blast from the past.
Right?
Yeah. And we're so disconnected from our soul with that. And yeah, little kiddies, they're shoved given a screen so they don't talk.
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, I hearing you say we're so disconnected from our soul, everything goes off in me when I hear that, right? Because that was really how I've come to be this version of James. My whole time last year and going in the wilderness about connecting with soul, getting out of my head, connecting with soul. A couple things came up for me when I heard Lisa talking, and I saw myself in this space at one time, and it was it was to ask the ladies, why do you think we're such in a hurry to get to a certain place? I know we can say things like maybe people feel like they're getting older, or people feel like things are passing them by, but in terms of really putting in the work, right? Like you're almost assured the outcome if you put in the work, but we want to skip the steps. We do things like, there are people who do things like we're looking for the free stuff instead of the paid stuff at times. And, again, we're just, maybe YouTube University is our thing of choice. I don't knock that. I'm a big YouTube University. It was just in my mind, instead of the practice making permanent, which is a powerful word, permanent, why do you ladies think we're often trying to skip the steps to get to where ultimately it probably takes us longer to get there if we just put in the work?
Well, my take on it is that we're giving so many empty promises of the future through the flood of marketing exposure that we see. Up to 5,000 marketing ads a day online. That's actually the number. And it's going to come like instant. You just got to pay me $2.97.
Yeah.
So Melissa, what's your take on that?
Well, I think there's two parts to it. So first of all, I think we're just used to having everything at our fingertips. Exactly like you said. You can just, there was a time that even if you wanted to send off for a book or something, that it was like 6 weeks. If you wanted to wait at the library for interlibrary loan, it could be months. Now I just go to the internet and there it is. Boom, immediately. And there are a lot of things are like that. I can order my groceries immediately. I can go to the mall and get what I want. Mall. See, there I am dating myself again. To the Walmart, get whatever I want immediately. There's no waiting. There's no having to wait. So you don't build those habits of knowing how to wait, of building patience, of understanding, how to make things work, how to be creative with what you've got in front of you, that sort of thing. So I think there's a habitual buildup there. The other part of it is a human behavioral thing. So the human brain, we have what's called present bias. So we put more importance on what's happening right now than what's happening in the future. This is why the diet always starts tomorrow, or I'll take care of it next week. because our bias is what's happening right now, what's in our faces. Well, what that means is that if you're mostly comfortable in where you are right now, no amount of great stuff out here in the future is going to motivate you to get there.
Yeah.
So as long as we stay comfortable in the right now, that's what's going to happen. The way to motivate is to produce pain in the right now, pain points that we as humans want to move away from, plus a reward in the future.
Yeah, but that's such a double-edged sword, Melissa, because people are so frightened of uncertainty, because I think our digital addiction has literally crushed our self-esteem because of all the fakeness out there. So people don't like their life as it is, but they certainly don't, their survival brain won't allow them to move into that extreme discomfort of actual change.
Yeah, but now you're tying fear into the equation too.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different behavioral can of worms, because fear can work against what we would normally do behaviorally. Fear is a great motivator and a very great detractor. It can twist you in ways.
Yeah, that was, and Lisa, that was part of my journey, you know, often referenced last year. It was like I wanted to be out of that pain so bad that I was looking for the shortcut. Until I got to the point where I was like, I just gotta start breaking this down step by step. I can't skip any steps, but that was the motivation. The motivation was to be out of the pain, be out of this moment here, and hurry up and get to the moment I want to get to, until I realized I'm just turning my wheels. And I think that's the same for anyone, whether we're talking our business or relationships or just life period. No, we may be where we at, may not be our preference. We may not be as happy as we can be right here. But the idea of trying to, again, speed the process along, and there actually does come moments where you can ride a wave, like you're doing so good, you gain momentum, but that work is still a requirement, especially, again, like Melissa brought out that permanent piece, that in order for it to become permanent and become a part of you and become who you are, like you can't skip the steps. And you can almost, you know, I think all three of us have been doing this long enough where we can kind of see the people that have tried to skip some steps, right? Like we feel like, you look good, but there's something not right here. Something's different here. And it's, you know, it's again, either not wanting to be left behind, not wanting to be in that present moment of this disappointment or sense of failure. That, the idea is, okay, if I do this and just skip around or go around this, but it almost usually always comes out at some point. And at the very least, you know, that's one of the reasons some people, not all people, some people may even experience imposter syndrome from that, because it's like, I know that I don't know everything that I'm talking about, but, you know, will they eventually figure it out? So that's what comes up for me when I think about that.
That's why the quality practice is so important. It's not enough to just practice. It has to be quality practice. Has to be quality.
Yeah, has to be quality.
Yeah, with intention for the outcome, you know, knowing really clearly what you want to achieve. And
yeah. So how would you, and Lisa just kind of touched on that just a few seconds ago, but Dr. Melissa, how would you define quality practice as well?
With intentionality and with a vision towards what you want the outcome to be.
Right. And I would add to that, I would say detached from the outcome to some degree. In other words, instead of putting a time limit on it, like I want to hurry up and get there, allowing yourself to go through the process, however long that takes, whatever that looks like, right? Like part of my journey last year as well was, I want to hurry up and get back out there and start doing business. I want to hurry up and start doing what I was doing. But every time I would put out some kind of program or whatever, no one showed up. I can't remember the last time no one showed up to anything, but I knew that I was trying to make it happen because I felt like I should be out there. But because I went through the process, as soon as I hit January, things just kind of took off. But before that, I either didn't feel it, I was trying to make it happen to some degree at times. But yeah, like even void of when this is supposed to happen or when this should happen, and just I will know in that moment that I'm ready. But when I'm ready, I'm going to be unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In music, we would say that you want to be critical, not caring.
Okay.
So you want to take your time and you want to be very critical about producing the right quality, but you can't care about it. You can't be desperate about it. You can't, because you get into some of that stuff where you just want it so bad. I actually, so here's, the red hair is no mistake. I actually destroyed a French horn that way. I when I was young and stupid and more fiery than I should have been, I got very frustrated one day practicing and I put it into a wall. Yeah. Had I been not caring, I wouldn't have gotten frustrated like that.
No, I wasn't hitting you. I was hitting the horn.
Well, yeah, it was dead by the time I got done with it. The bell should come out like this, and it went like that. It was the bell, the big part that the sound comes out of. So yeah, critical, not caring.
Did you feel better after it?
No, I didn't, because then I had to pay for the repairs. So then it was a double whammy. So then I was angry and feeling stupid.
The lessons we learn.
Yeah, learns the hard way.
Yes. And James, I'd like to actually add something onto what you just said of having this goal or vision, but not setting an end date. One thing that Jim Rohn, I think the most important thing that you said out of that is to detach from the outcome. Because Melissa, when you want it so bad, you're still pushing it away. Like it's almost creating a resistance there. Well, it is. The energetic field. But Jim Rohn always taught us to start with the end in mind and work backwards. Okay, what do I need to do? What are the steps involved, the building blocks to get to the outcome? And then if you just work on each little bit at a time and stacking on that, building on that, you're going to get to the outcome. So, yeah.
And that's important.
I'd like to actually mention, so Miguel in the comments says, some clients will assume that a fast turnaround is not quality. Those are clients I would actually be very careful of. So the way, if we're teaching it within like a lean Six Sigma kind of ideology, what I'll tell clients is that you can have something quick, you can have something that's quality, or you can have something that's cheap. Pick two, which two, and sometimes only one. So if they want a quick turnaround, that means they're going to have to put in a lot of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And probably a lot of money. So you can pick any two of those.
I love it. Makes total sense. Total sense. So again, we're talking about, is abracadabra not working or bringing you the success that you want? Try these things that you're listening to today. Go get you a magic Fraggle Rock spreader thing. But honestly, there's things that have been shared that if it resonates with you, and one of the things I used to say to people that are feeling like, I'm not there yet, or it's almost like the tortoise and the hare. There are those who are just running out there, but if you can just be methodical, just every day, and that's really what we wanted to bring out as well, every day doing that one thing or just doing something that will bring you closer to your goal. Before you know it, the people that you thought were so far ahead of you, you're like, oh, okay. You know, you're now passing them, and no one even remembers where you started from. They just see where you're at now, right? Like no one goes, well, yeah, not too long ago, they're like, this is what Lisa's doing now. This is what Dr. Melissa's doing now. This is what James is doing now. How can we be a part of that? So they're not even looking at the journey, they're just looking at where you're at. But again, there are those who also feel like I'm not doing enough, I'm too far behind, or whatever, just every single day. It's not a snap of the finger. Even, and I have to be honest, Dr. Melissa, when I first looked at this, I thought, well, as a person who is an ascension coach and subscribes to consciousness, who believes that the moment you become conscious of it, you are absolutely there. But as I was telling a client earlier today, it's still circling back to that moment. It's still circling back to that place that you go to in consciousness where it's already done, right? So even that is a repetition, you know, continual circling back until now it is a part of who you are. You don't even have to become conscious of it. You're just seeing it, you know, happen in your life. So I was like, yeah, well, how does that fit in your consciousness? But it fits in perfectly with that, because you don't just, because I'm not a person who believes in affirmations, but I am a person that believes, okay, James, we see it, it exists, now let's move toward it. But then, because that's not your natural way of being, okay, we got to circle back, that's it, we're there. And again, until it gets stronger, until it becomes more permanent in consciousness, you know, that going back and back and back to it is going to be important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll tell clients too, doing it the first time, no matter how messed up, mucked up, whatever it is, gives you the privilege of doing it a second time. Yeah. Which gives you the privilege of doing it a third time. The only way to get to 10,000 hours is to start with 1 second.
1 second. 1 second. 1 second. I was, at that time, I think I had this attitude one time before, like I'm always mindful of 10,000. Ever since I read that, I've always been mindful of 10,000. But I also want I want to caution people about this as well. Don't just start doing stuff like, all right, I've been doing this for 5 hours now. All right, I've been doing The moment that your brain tells you, okay, we're done for the day, be done for the day. It's not a hard rule. It has to be 10,000 hours in a row. Just do it, get what you got to get for that day, and then move on to the next day, however long that takes you. It may be you're delving into something 30 minutes one day, a couple of hours the next day, nothing the third day. It is a continual journey.
Yeah, it is. And if you want to do quality, you have to approach it like that. It's not just quantity, it's quality.
Quality, that word again. Yeah.
And inspired action, because if you do it as angry action, it's not good.
No.
It's apart from walking in cement shoes, you're pushing it away.
Absolutely. And I'm sure I've been there. I'm more mindful of that now, of James, how are we feeling? I feel like we're done, let's be done, as opposed to wanting to push something in here and going against what my soul is telling me. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. What happened? Wait, is it Lisa Freeze, or am I looking at it wrong? What's going on?
No, she looks there.
Okay, there she goes. Okay. And on my screen,
like she's there.
So is it time, Lisa? I know I've been taking over time a little bit lately.
Oh, yay!
That is our time, people. The bell has rung. We will always have a prop if that's the case. So we have the bell prop. Let's list the props for today. We had the Jim Rohn books. We had the brain. We had
Barry.
the dog. We
got to name the brain.
What was the other book I missed? I missed one of the books. There you go. That book. That one. So we had
and my trophy.
Yeah.
And the phone was a problem as well. At some point, Mike said he mentioned how you didn't like his name, Brainiac. So I'll let y'all work that out.
You can arm wrestle him for it.
Right, and then he had something to say about you trying to talk redneck. So I didn't get a chance to post those up there.
I don't think Brainiac is a noun, is it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, in terms of it's a name, but I don't know. Person, place, or thing is a noun. I mean, I guess it could be.
Superman villain or something?
Yeah, that was a Superman villain.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask D. He'll know.
He would know.
Yeah, D would know. For sure. So with that, this is always so much fun. We appreciate you. Remember, give us a name for the brain. Right now we're at Barry. We're going between Barry and Brainiac, but we're going to choose a name. Well, I'm saying we're going to choose a name that you give us, but I'm leaving it up to Lisa. But yes, submit some names. Submit some names, whether you watch us on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube. Give us some names for the brain. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you next Monday, same bat station, same bat time. So
I have put a topic in for next week, by the way.
Do you? Okay, do you remember what it is? Can you tell us?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's conflict.
It's what now?
Conflict.
Oh.
That's a good one.
Oh,
nice.
That is a good one. So if you have some stuff you need to work out with some people or with yourself, definitely we will see you next Monday for what's going to be an amazing topic and lots of fun. So we all say we love you and we appreciate you, and we will see you next time. Take care.